What's going on, y'all? On this episode, we're going to talk about something that has pretty much become an evergreen topic. It's something I've mentioned many, many times. And we saw a few examples of it recently. Commiela at one of her rallies brought it out, and there's a directive from the DOD that is more evidence. And if you've been following us for any length of time, you can probably guess what it is I'm going to say. So we're going to get into that. And it's crunch time. The election is not coming, it's here. It's here, and voting is underway. And I have some thoughts. So let's get after it. Before we get into it, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, share these videos. We need you to do that so that we can move up in the algorithm. They are actively trying to suppress our content like ours. So the more you like and subscribe and share, the more that we can get the word out there. The more people see it, the better we do in the algorithm, and the more we can spread the word. So go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, share, and let everyone know. And we really appreciate any help that you can give us in that regard, because they, like I said, they are actively trying to suppress our message, and there's a reason why. And we're going to get into that right now. This is a Christian-based podcast, but we do talk a lot of politics. And Christians cannot vote for Commiela or any Democrat for that matter. And one of the reasons why, not just be, well, they hate you. They hate you, and they hate everything that you stand for. They are openly, aggressively anti-Christian. They are, I'm just going to say it, they are a demonic death cult. They are a demonic death cult. There's no other way around it. They are supporting the murder of innocent babies. What else really needs to be said? And there are many other reasons why Christians shouldn't vote for him, but that should be enough. That should be enough right there. But Christians, aside from the fact that they hate you, the abortion thing is one of the biggest issues. But Christians need to vote for candidates who will openly uphold Christian ideals and openly fight against the evil of the Democrats. And last episode, I talked about Christians not voting, and that still blows my mind that so many Christians just don't vote. But they're the same ones that'll turn around and complain about how expensive it is. And well, if you didn't vote, then it's on you. It's on you if you didn't vote. Not voting for any American, but Christians especially, is an abdication of your responsibility. And it shows a kind of a lack of gratitude for the people who fought and died for the freedoms and the rights that we enjoy and take for granted. And like I said, they absolutely hate you. And people can say, "Oh, they don't hate anybody. They just have a different." No, nonsense. And in a prior life, I would have I would have had a lot more saltier words to say, but here we are. So the proof, and the proof is just out there for all to see, numerous times, many hundreds of times over. But here is just one of the latest examples of the proof that they hate you. Check it out.
We're not going to be gaslighted on this. We remember Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
Every time I see that, there's even more there. Okay, first of all, it's the president's job to hand select Supreme Court justices. Does she think that she's not, if she is somehow manages to swindle her butt into the Oval Office, does she think that if she has the opportunity, she's not going to hand select a replacement Supreme Court justice or two? That's the job. And the job is to select Supreme Court justices that will uphold the Constitution. And of course, she is one of these leftists that absolutely hates the Constitution. So she's going to appoint justices, hand select justices that are going to try to dismantle the Constitution. What does she think this is? And she just alienated. Well, before we even get into that, she just proved that she hates Christians, despite her ridiculous appearance at that so-called church the Sunday after that, which was just an abomination, unbelievable. But I didn't have time to get into that. You don't need to see that. But the point is, she and all the rest of the Democrats hate Christians. They hate you. And it's not limited to Christians. Let me clear that up. They hate anyone who is not in lockstep with them. If you oppose them in any way, well, they hate you too, Christian or not. But they especially hate Christians. And I still can't believe she went to that church, which really isn't a church based on what I've seen since, talking about joy coming in the morning. Such a fake, phony. I know. Oh, Lord, forgive me, because I have some thoughts right now. Anyway, if you're a Christian, you just cannot vote for Commiela Harris. You cannot vote for any Democrat. If you do, you need to reevaluate your Christian bona fides, seriously. And it's not just Christians. Like I said, if you oppose their agenda in any way, they're going to do everything they can to hurt you. And right now, what we're seeing is a very feminized version of the left and all the leftist men are they're all low T betas. And that's not just me saying that. Dana Bash, however you want to say it, said that at the convention, at the DNC convention. Check this out.
But they are doing so in trying to put forward male figures, Tim Walz being one of them, Doug Emhoff last night, who can speak to men out there who might not be the sort of testosterone-laden, gun-toting kind of guy who wants to listen to Hulk Hogan and the kind of players that came out at the RNC, or might want to listen to that, but also, in addition, understand that it's okay in 2024 to be a man comfortable in his own skin who supports a woman. And that's something that they really are trying to work on with male voters beyond the base.
Christians, men, actual men with normal testosterone levels, we try to uphold traditional values, traditional roles. That's something that the left just cannot get with anymore. As far as they're concerned, high testosterone men are toxic. Men who value tradition, men who actually take the lead in their families, men who make sure their families go to church, men who make sure that their families are following Christian values. Those men are, like I said, toxic, according to the left. But men, especially Christian men, are going to be linchpins in taking this country back. Because the men that she mentioned, Tim Walz, Doug Emhoff, who happens to be a confirmed woman beater, but details, I guess. He's married to the right one now. Whatever the reason, they just refuse to follow that story. But that's a whole other discussion for another day. But men are going to be essential in making sure that this country gets back on track, especially Christian men. And as long as Christian men sit back and don't vote, and as long as Christian men sit on the sidelines and don't get involved, what we're seeing right now in terms of the economy and the degradation of our society is going to continue. And as men, it's time for us to step up and say, no more. We are not going to allow this. We are not going to allow Tampon Tim, Doug Emhoff, Pete Buttigieg, Adam Schiff, and all these low-T leftists, Don Lemon, crying Van Jones. Oh, Van Jones, man. We cannot let these guys who advocate for transing kids and killing babies in the womb and killing babies as they leave the birth canal. We cannot allow these guys to be subservient to the feminist agenda and just allow this nonsense to continue. We can't. If we do, like I said earlier in the show, we will be abdicating our responsibility as men, abdicating our responsibility as Christians. And let me just say this. There is a scriptural basis for this. And there are many. I had a hard time trying to narrow down exactly which one I wanted to use in this particular instance. But the one that stuck out at me as I was preparing the show was this one. If a ruler pays attention to lies, all his servants become wicked. Proverbs 29:12. In that short verse, there is so much there, because what we're seeing in society right now is the rulers, the elected officials who are running things right now, they are paying attention to all of the demonic, evil things that this fallen society wants to put in place. And then those people, because Christians haven't stepped up and haven't blocked this nonsense, haven't voted their biblical conscience, we've allowed those wicked people to elect wicked rulers, and now we're dealing with the consequences of that. So it is way, way past time for Christians to step up and show out and put a stop to this nonsense. Now is the time. I mentioned at the top of the show another piece of evidence that shows that the left just hates Americans, hates you, Christian or not. They hate everyone who is not following in lockstep with them. And that is DoD Directive 5240.01. I'm not going to get deep into it because things got away from me as I was preparing for the show. Didn't have time to really study it and digest everything that's in there. But let's just say they have authorized the military to use force against the civilian population. And like I said, I'm not going to get into all the details because I haven't fully digested it yet. But they're anticipating, and they just did this back at the end of September. They are anticipating violence. Whether it's, and I think they're anticipating a Trump victory. And if there is a Trump victory and there is rioting in the streets, be prepared. Be prepared. And if you have to defend yourself against these rioters, keep your head on a swivel, because there is a very strong possibility, especially in these deep blue areas, that the military could come out. Now, I have my doubts that a lot of them will follow these orders, because to my mind, this if they are ordered to engage, to my mind, that's going to be an unlawful order that I think a lot of soldiers will refuse to follow. At least that's my prayer. But again, like I said, I didn't get a chance to get too deep into it yet, so I'm just going to leave that there and let you look it up. It's DoD Directive 5240.01. Go ahead and check that out. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But I don't think I am. From what I have read and from the commentaries that I have heard, it's a dangerous time. So, like I said, be prepared. Okay. As I said at the top, the election is underway. Early voting is underway in a lot of states. There are some states that don't have early voting, which I think is a good thing. But the states that do have early voting, like Texas, and so I voted yesterday, you need to get out there and bank your vote. And the returns are looking good. Republicans seem to have gotten the message and are out there and getting their votes in. And like I said, that's a good thing, because Republicans have gotten trounced in early voting. And I've said many times, we need to play by their rules. The rules that they establish, we need to play by. I'm not a fan of early voting. I'm not a fan of election season. I would support a national holiday on election day for people to go vote. But since we don't have that, and since they have made these rules where you can just vote anytime you want between like August and November, I might be exaggerating slightly, but you get the idea. There's no need we can't take advantage of that too, because they're going to cheat. And by voting early in numbers that we're voting, and if we keep it up, that will make it that much harder for them to steal these votes. That will make it that much harder come election day when they initiate an attack on the voting machines and they all go down, or whatever the case may be, that enough Republicans have already voted and those votes have already been counted. And I think in most counties you can look and verify that your vote has been counted. Probably just go to your county website and you can check that out. We need to bank those votes. And it's looking good right now. I'm not predicting anything. I'm just saying we need to keep it up. We need to keep it up. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of voting early, but I am a huge fan of winning. And if we can play by their rules, and I've said this before too, if Republicans played by the same rules as the leftists, we would always win, because we're just better at it. But we don't do it. But now we're getting the word out. We're early voting and we're winning. Now, that's not that I'm not trying to predict a victory or anything like that. We still got to get out there and execute. We still have to do our part. It's not over. It may not even be over on November 5th. I know some people are saying we'll know, but I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. So vote early if you can and bank your vote. All right, we're going to get you out of here on a somewhat lighter note, where we're going to circle back around to Commiela, but Trump he's had a great couple of weeks, and he was vintage Trump when he trolled Commiela Harris in epic fashion by showing up at a McDonald's and working the fryer later. And what he did by doing that was prove once again that he's a man of the people. Despite him being a billionaire real estate developer, despite him being rich his entire life, he still can relate to the average working person in a way that most politicians, Republican or Democrat, just can't do. As much of a fan of Ted Cruz as I am, he couldn't have done that. He could not have done that. He's shown up at sporting events and stuff like that, and it's just been a disaster for him. But Trump can do it. And like I said, he is a master troll. Kamala's been trying to tell us that she's worked at McDonald's. McDonald's has no record of it. People trying to say, well, it was 30 or 40 years ago, whatever it is. The records may not go back. Please. They would know. They would love the opportunity to say, yes, the vice president worked at McDonald's. The future president worked at McDonald's. They know. And they haven't come right out and said she hasn't worked there, but they have said that there's no record of it. And if there's no record of it, it didn't happen. Did not happen. So, but anyway, I just want to show this video because this is, like I said, this is vintage Trump.
Tight. We got the salt on it. Never touches the human hand.
Very good.
Nice and full.
Thank you.
Good. A lot of fun here, everybody.
Oh my God! Oh my
Look
God!
look at all the fake news of it. Hello, everybody.
You can fake this,
And
right?
you know this is compliments of Trump, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes.
please don't let the United States become Brazil, my native Brazil.
We'll keep it
Please,
good.
Please, please.
We're going to make it better than ever, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, Mr.
Compliments
President.
of Trump.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you over there.
Oh my God.
Have a good time.
Thank
Nice
you.
to see
You
you.
too.
Bye,
Thank
darling.
you.
Have a good time. Thank you, honey.
That was amazing. And I put that video in there of him talking to the Brazilian woman because she said something that a lot of people who have escaped socialist, communist regimes have said. Don't let what happened in my native country happen here. They moved here for a reason. They moved here to escape that. And far too often, these people see that what was happening in their country as things were devolving are happening here now. Brazilians, Cubans, Chinese, Koreans, North Korea, all saying that America is heading in the wrong direction. Lily Tang Williams, who destroyed David Hogg in that one exchange in New Hampshire, where she told him that the gun control argument is done because he can't guarantee that the government won't become tyrannical. Well, that's the entire point of the Second Amendment. So she was right, he's wrong as usual. But Lily Tang Williams, Yunmi Park, and a host of others begging the United States not to let what happened to them in their native countries happen here. And Trump saying that he was not going to let that happen. That was awesome. Now, one of the many criticisms of Trump on that day was that it was staged. Yeah, it was. It was staged. He's had 2 attempts on his life. 2 attempts on his life. The Secret Service, he's not just going to walk into a random McDonald's and say, hey, give me an apron and let me work the fryer later. Of course not. Of course, the Secret Service locked it down. Of course, the people who came through the drive-thru that he interacted with had been vetted by the Secret Service. Of course. And anyone who thought otherwise is just an idiot, an absolute moron if you thought it was going to go down any other way. And so to issue that criticism is just stupid. But they're trying to make something of that when think about all the different accents that Commiela has put on over the years, just over the course of this campaign. She's pulled out a Hispanic accent. She's pulled out a Southern Black accent. She is the master of code switching. She is not authentic in any possible way. She's just not. And then there's her plagiarism, which is a discussion for another time because we could do a whole show on that. But they're criticizing Trump for this particular event when everything that Commiela does is scripted, and they let the cat out of the bag.
We have some questions from the audience that we will get to. I have a few questions. As I said, I went around to meet several of you, and I heard some questions that some of you had. But universally, many of you said the reason I'm here is to see bipartisanship. I want to see what it looks like so I can go home with information. So you're going to get that, okay? So let's get going. So sit back, be comfortable. You're not, unfortunately. We have some predetermined questions, and hopefully I'll be able to ask some of the questions that might be in your head. I hope so.
Predetermined questions. That was supposed to be a town hall. Town halls are not supposed to have predetermined questions. So Maria Shriver just let the cat out of the bag that everything, we already knew everything she did was scripted, but she just admitted it. She just gave us even more proof that everything she did was scripted. They tried to say that last town hall she did at Univision, where the camera panned and you could see the teleprompter. I mean, come on. Unbelievable. Everything this woman does is fake. Everything. Anyway, folks, that's all I got for you this time. I will try to do better on the next one. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to these videos, share these videos, let everyone know that we're trying to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and the message of freedom and liberty that he has blessed us with. And because we want to preserve it for future generations. And the way things are going right now, that could be a problem. So we want to make sure that we get the word out, that we spread the gospel, that we spread the message of liberty. Because if we don't, the future generations I spoke of are going to be looking back and asking us, why did we let this happen? But anyway, folks, as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.